In an average year, natural disasters claim the lives of 140,000 people. According to Natural Disasters by David Alexander, a natural disaster can be defined as some rapid, instantaneous, or profound impact of the natural environment upon the socio-economic system. In this video, we will take a closer look at the 3 deadliest natural disasters in the past decade. The magnitude 7 earthquake that occurred in Haiti on January 12, 2010 had a devastating impact. 316,000 people were left dead or missing. 300,000 people were injured, and 1.3 million people were left homeless. The damages tallied up to a total cost of $8 billion. And gross domestic product was nearly 100% destroyed. So we just went over the damage done by the Haiti earthquake of 2010. Here's a brief refresher if anyone needs it. But what caused this earthquake was the Enrico Plantation Garden Fault, and that is a strike-slip fault, also known as a transform fault. And this particular one occurs between the North American plate moving westward and the Caribbean plate moving eastward. Now the focus of this earthquake was only 13 kilometers deep, and that is really important, especially in relation to the devastation done by the earthquake, because the seismic waves released by this focus, they spread out, and the less earth there is to absorb them, the stronger the waves are when they reach the surface. Now that's important because Port-au-Prince is a very large city that happened to be really close to the focus or the epicenter above the surface. So that city was heavily impacted and contributed greatly to all these terrible statistics. If you're not quite understanding what a strike-slip fault is, you can follow along with this and hopefully it'll make sense. Make 2 fists and press them together. Now press upward on one and downward on the other. These 2 fists symbolize the plates. Now eventually, you'll feel the tension build up. Eventually, your knuckles are going to slip. Now this slip would be the equivalent of an earthquake. The Japan earthquake and tsunami of March 11, 2011 had a devastating toll on Japan. It resulted in 19,781 people either dead or missing. 4,100 people were injured, and 500,000 people were left homeless. The damages amounted to a total cost of 195 billion United States dollars. The Japan earthquake and tsunami of March 11, 2011 was a magnitude 9 earthquake. That makes it one of the 5 largest earthquakes ever to be recorded. Now here is more of the devastation in case you need a refresher on those numbers, but let's talk about what caused the earthquake. The Japan Trench is a subduction zone which consists of the Eurasian plate and the Pacific plate, which is subducting beneath the Eurasian plate. Now as the Pacific plate goes down, it creates tension with the Eurasian plate. Eventually the Eurasian plate will fracture or snap, and it will send energy through the water, creating a wave. Now the wave created on March 11th eventually reached a max size of 1,024 meters. This massive wave, or tsunami wave, traveled 130 kilometers till it reached Japan's eastern coast, and then it traveled another 10 kilometers inland, which when doing that, it caused all this damage. But keep in mind this damage is divided between an earthquake and a tsunami, because it's very hard to tell what did what specific damage given they were so close together. It's also important to mark that the focus was only 30 kilometers beneath sea level, so that is part of what contributes to how massive the wave is, because it's had less time for the water to absorb the energy. And I would also like to note with you guys that Japan at the time had 3 nuclear power plants along its coast, which was affected by the tsunami, which obviously created a lot of havoc and worry about the radiation leaking. The Nepal earthquake of April 25, 2015 caused the death of 9,000 people. It also injured 22,000 and left over 600,000 people homeless. The total cost would add up to 10 billion United States dollars. The Nepal earthquake of April 25, 2015 was an earthquake with a magnitude 7.8. Again, this is a review of the total damage it caused, but let's talk about what caused the earthquake. It occurred on a thrust fault, which means two different plates sliding against each other like so. This included the Indian plate, which is sliding below, and on average it does this at a speed of 45 millimeters per year. The above plate was the Eurasian plate. This thrust fault is what created the Himalaya mountains in that area. Now the focus was 10 to 15 kilometers beneath the surface, which we are seeing as a common theme with these super powerful earthquakes. They tend to have a focus that's closer to the surface. And then what was unique about this earthquake was it triggered a lot of other natural disasters, such as a landslide that cost a total of $5 to $10 billion worth of damage, as well as an avalanche on Mount Everest, which ended up killing 19 climbers.